Hello, my name is Derek Markgraf, and this is my God story. My God story might be unique compared to a lot of others because my God story isn't about how I came to know Christ. See, I grew up in church as a kid, and I had a great faith support system around me with both of my parents and my grandparents, and believing was never the struggle for me. My God story begins later on. As a matter of fact, it takes place right after my freshman year of college. I had taken a job at the water company in my hometown, and I was working the night shift flushing fire hydrants with a partner. I drove home one morning after my shift, and I fell asleep while I was driving. And I crossed oncoming traffic. I didn't hit anybody, but I did hit a ditch on the other side of the road that put me airborne about 8 feet in the air, and I hit a tree, and I rolled after that. My car was completely smashed except for one corner, and I was laid back, tucked away in that one corner. I was literally in the only part of the car I could have been in to stay alive. I hit my forehead on the steering wheel. I smashed it so hard that the doctor said you could have taken a baseball bat and hit me as hard as you could across my forehead and you couldn't have done any worse damage. I had a lot of injuries, so as I was rushed into the hospital, I went into respiratory arrest. I had a bruised heart, a bruised lung. I had cerebral fluid leaking out of my nose from my brain. And if you don't know what that is, that's fluid that cushions your brain, and I was told that you can't live without it. I went into a coma for 5 days, and the doctors didn't know if I was going to live or die. That's what they told my mom and dad. They said, right now we don't know if he's going to live or die. It's more in God's hands than it is ours. My dad did the most amazing thing at that moment. He looked that doctor in the eye and he said, "That's where I'd rather it be." I think, wow. He was able to tell those doctors, I'm not trusting in human hands. I'm trusting in the hand of God. And that takes big time faith. The next day I woke up and I was completely healed. They couldn't explain why my lungs were clear of bruises, why my heart had no bruises. The cerebral fluid just stopped. The doctors literally said it was a miracle. They didn't understand how everything had healed itself so quickly, and that I was completely fine. I walked out of the hospital in 2 weeks from the moment I went in. That's kind of a crazy time in my life. I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I believed in God, but I didn't know what He had planned for me. And at this moment, I was sitting there in the hospital after my wreck, and I just thought, what are you doing with me, God? Sometimes in life, things get tough. We face tragedies, we face hardships, and it's easy to want to blame God for those things, but in my circumstance, it was quite the opposite. God was getting my attention. He was saying, Derek, I've got plans for you, and I'm not done with you here yet. And it woke me up and set me on a new path towards ministry and serving God in pastoral ministry and as a worship leader. I know that God was with me every step of the way. I want to tell you that if you feel like God's absent, if you feel like you're at the worst moment in your life, like you're going to die, God's still got you in His hands. He's still got plans for you. The hardest times in our lives, we've just got to remember God's there. That was my experience. That's my God story. What's yours?